That's where change happens when you're willing to be vulnerable and to open yourself up and to realize that the woman next to us or the gentleman next to us may be going through the same thing, but they just haven't had someone to just say, hey, I'm here for you, or I'm here to listen. That's where the magic happens.
Let glory shine from the ashes I rise. Every scar a story, every tear baptized. This is my freedom, this is my climb. Let glory shine, it's the power inside.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Let Glory Shine. I'm your host, Martha Glory Kartaoui, and I'm so excited. I have another fabulous guest. So this guest and I met because a mutual friend of ours said, hey, Martha, I know a friend of mine just moved to North Carolina, and I think you guys would be such good friends. And I was like, okay, I like friends. I like cool people. And he just was like so talking her up. And he was like, she's aligned with her purpose, and it sounds like somebody that you would really get along with. And I'm like, well, let's do this. So he connected us, and the rest is history because now we've become great friends, hiking partners, and just soul sisters that really support each other's mission and vision. So I would like to introduce Jessica Moyer Smith. Thank you so much for being here.
I am so excited, Martha. And yes, God put us together through a friend, and here we are. And I'm just excited to see too where we grow together.
Right. And that's the fun part is like we get to be alongside each other's mission, even if it's not exactly the same. Like, I feel like we're in this fundamental growth period for both of us, and we get to just support each other. And that's so fun because that's not always what we find in our space, as you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. If we can just support and love one another and meet each other where they're at and, lift each other, that's really what it's about.
That is completely what it's about. So I want my audience to learn a little bit about Jessica. Like I could talk about you myself, but I would like you to tell the audience a little bit about you.
Okay, where do I begin? I mean, I'm so interesting now.
You are.
Gosh, I guess first I am a mom of four because my kids are my world, and I have an amazing husband of almost 28 years. Last year I kept saying it was 28, but it's this year that will be 28 years. And his name is Jason. So that is my world. I am very much in line with whatever God is showing me in my life is what I need in my life. And so that's first and foremost. I grew up in a very small town in New Jersey called Medford, and I have four siblings, great parents. My dad is deceased, unfortunately, but I had a really pretty cool childhood. I was an elite gymnast for many years and then became a cross country runner in high school and college, and then met the love of my life. And then, adulthood happened, getting a job and all the stuff. And let's see, my husband was in the army, so we started the army life. And shortly, well, before even that, I had a daughter, Isabel, who was my firstborn and 9 weeks premature. She was born on July 4th and came on leave, or she was born on July 4th, but was due on Labor Day. So that was a big surprise and very hard to navigate when you're 25 years old and you're like, what do I do with this little creature? So that was probably the beginning of a really tough season in my life, because soon after that, we moved for the military, got pregnant with my second child, Stephen. And shortly after his birth, really noticed that Stephen wasn't reaching typical milestones that a baby should. Got him checked, was told he was fine. And September 25th, I brought him into Bethesda Naval Hospital. The pediatrician, well, she was a pediatrician. I had a neurologist in the room too, diagnosed him on the spot with a disease called spinal muscular atrophy. Had never heard of it, but I thought no matter what, he's my child. I'm going to love him, take care of him, whatever the disability may be. Within another minute, I was told that there was no treatment or cure for spinal muscular atrophy and to take him home and love him, that he most likely wouldn't live to celebrate his first birthday. So, as any parent that is listening can imagine, my world was completely shattered at that moment. I'm not expecting that news at all, had never heard of this, and this was going to be my future, right? And so I share this because many parents, I just spoke with a gentleman today who had lost a child. So it's something that we never want to have to go through, but unfortunately, many of us do. And Stephen was a gift from God. And, it's 23 years later. And I can just say that because of his short little life in mine, that it's really brought some amazing people and opportunities and experiences and just so much because of the short life that Stephen brought to me. And so there wasn't a moment wasted. Stephen passed away at the age of 9 months from the disease. And since then, my husband and I and my family and many supporters have raised a lot of money for Cure SMA. So there now are treatments for the disease, which is so impressive for a neuromuscular disease that no one's ever heard of. And babies that are born like Steven now can actually walk. So
Mhm.
it's incredible. I mean, it's absolutely incredible to know that the work that we've done, blood, sweat, and tears, many, many tears, that now there is a treatment and hopefully someday a cure for SMA. So that's the beginning of what was really a tough journey. But shortly after that, the day after his funeral, I miscarried. Most people didn't know I was pregnant. Never had trouble getting pregnant. My husband could look at me and I would get pregnant. So I'm very fortunate for that. But then soon after that, I got pregnant again, and the baby was tested positive for SMA. So made a very tough choice to terminate a pregnancy, which is very controversial. But at that point in our life, we just knew that that was what was right for us. So in situations when we're faced like that, and there's a lot of different factors, especially your faith and other people, when it comes to that, for anyone that has to make tough decisions, is to really, well, pray on it, but really it was between me and my husband at that time. And so there was a lot of judgment from the outside on that decision. But since then, we've had two more healthy boys. My kids are now 19, 21, and 26. And yeah, so that was a lot of heartbreak in a very, very, well, less than a year, honestly, of a lot of loss. Yeah, so that's the beginning of a hard journey. It kept continuing, some more challenges, but that was definitely the toughest part of our journey.
So, all this loss, right? You and I have talked about this, and I talk about this a lot from stage as well. Some of the hardest things that we've ever been through, where we had to cling to the small fiber of hope that we could find, or cling to our faith, or whatever it was that helped drag us through that, becomes our biggest blessing, right? Becomes what we find purpose in, becomes what we build our mission on, because or else it was not right. Like, that's not lost on us, that hardship, that pain, that trauma, that loss created a purpose, a passion, a mission in our hearts and in our lives that we carry on. So what was it that helped pull you through that very, very dark and lonely time, where you were just experiencing loss after loss after loss?
Yeah, that's a great question, Martha. And I know walking through your own journey and how tough it's been for you, you've done the same thing. You have choices in life. And the choice for me was number one, to just keep getting up, keep moving forward, no matter how little that step was. I mean, for some days it was just getting out of bed and feeding my daughter because I had another human depending on me. And thank God I did. Um, so that was one. Like, I'm very thankful that Isabel, in a way saved me, which maybe to this day she doesn't know, but she was my purpose at the time. But not even before Stephen passed. I mean, a few months before he had passed, I connected with some other moms in the SMA community who had supported me, but they were also running nonprofits. They were running, at the time it was called Families of SMA. And so we decided amongst my family that we were going to start a chapter in New Jersey because that's where I grew up, even though I was living in Maryland. And so we just started pouring all of our energy, and at that time, was not the best energy, into fundraising,
Mm.
into supporting other families. I mean, even when Stephen was alive, I was getting calls from other moms whose children were just diagnosed. It's like when you see a car that you bought and then you keep seeing them, that's what had happened. Like, now I realized I wasn't alone in this. And so one is finding people that you can relate to, that become kind of your anchor. And again, it was is purpose through pain. Is We were doing nonprofit, we were doing all these events, So that was a big part of what carried me through, probably just diving into these events that, were challenging. My son wasn't here, but the hopes that someday there would be a treatment because of all that we did, and now there is. So I get to see the fruits of my labor and all the people that rallied around me. And as time goes on, people fall off. That's human nature, and I don't fault that. So you really got to find that community, that tribe that supports you too. And I didn't have that really when Stephen was diagnosed. I had a few good friends, but we had just moved to Maryland. So I didn't have we were military. I didn't have that community. My family was awesome. My in-laws were there all the time. I have a great support network within my family, but I didn't have a lot of friends that were there. So it's important to find people that you can count on, even if it's just a handful. That was a
Yeah.
big part of finding that light amongst such a dark time in my life.
Right. So often we can get stuck where it feels uncomfortable, or because when you have so much grief and you have so much loss at one time, you can get very stuck in that feeling of I'm all alone, and I just keep getting hit over and over and over with loss or with pain or with grief or whatever it is. And to hear you talk about it and say, well, instead of allowing myself to get stuck there, I was looking for somewhere to put my energy, someone to help someone, a way to help someone else, right? And I think that we often don't talk about it, but the best way to move forward is to help someone else move forward, right? And I have found that in my journey over and over and over. Before I was even ready to talk about my journey and about my healing, God kept dropping people in my life that I was forced to have to share something that I had learned along the journey, even though I wasn't yet sharing publicly. But God just kept dropping these people in my life that my experiences would help to resonate with them and help them move forward. And that was just God's way of saying, see, it's not in vain. You didn't go through this in vain. There is a reason for this pain, and you're turning it into purpose, right? So I
Yeah.
love that. I love that you shared that that's what you chose to do. So, how did that season of your life lead you to what you're doing now?
Yeah, well, it was quite a season. It was a very long season. It was survival mode for many years because that was like my late 20s, early 30s. And then my dad passed away just a few years later. And so it was like I was faced with more loss. My mom suffered a massive stroke. So it's like the hits kept coming, but how was I going to rise to the occasion? And I'm not going to lie, for many years, it was like one foot in front of the other, burying myself in like all the kids' activities and being that mom and showing up. But a big part of my journey has been wellness and fitness. And even when, I've always been very into like I said, I was a gymnast and runner. So for me, getting out and running or moving my body was very much therapy for me. And so I started teaching some classes locally at night when my husband would get home from work. And then I just started getting busier in the community with anything health related. And so that was a big part of my healing was movement and helping others realize that no matter what you go through in life, you have to put your armor on first. You got to put your oxygen mask on first. You cannot take care of others if you are not well mentally, emotionally, and physically. And how many of us do that? How many of us are trying to show up for everyone on like constantly, but we keep depleting and eventually there is a breakdown. And so my mission became very clear on who I could help. And then I eventually opened a gym in Delaware and since have sold it and moved on, but I built a community there where women can support each other still. So a big part of that was, the wellness, but then I also attended a John Maxwell training and then I decided I'm going to become a Ziegler coach. And then I was like, I'm going to become a certified health coach. And so I was investing in myself in order to be able to invest into others. And that really is my message is you've got to show up for yourself and it's hard. I don't know why it's so hard to, just to take care of everyone else and do for everyone else and say yes to everything. And then there's just this little piece left over for us. And that's not acceptable or okay. That's not what God intended.
No. I talk about this all the time, and so do you, right? Like understanding that if we don't take care of us, there is nothing to share with other people. But as we pour into ourselves and as we remember who we are and who God created us to be, we step into the overflow, right? We step into that overflow, and the overflow is what we're able to give other people. So when we talk about the cup being empty, right? And then we fill it up, fill it up, fill it up. We should be giving from the saucer, giving from the overflow to others, right? Our cup should always be full first. And so many of us forget about that. But when I really understood what it meant to embrace the woman that God created me to be and to step back into that, you understand what it means to be a steward of your mind, body, and spirit, your physical body, your mind, your spirit, like all of those things combined, what it means to be that. And then the ripple effect is that you get to show up for other people, be a better wife, be a better mother, be a better coach, be a better entrepreneur, whatever it is. Because when you do that and pour into you first, that happens naturally.
Thank you for watching Prospera TV Network. We hope you're enjoying the show. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Because when you do that and pour into you first, that happens naturally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So awesome. I'm excited that you're doing that. So actively now you are doing what? So you've told us what you came from.
Yeah.
You were in Delaware, and now what are we actively working
Yeah,
on?
so I'm in a new season of life, Martha, with which I've shared with you, and this is for any specifically women that go through big changes in life, whether it's an empty nest or whether it's a move or a new job or whatever it is. Maybe it's a divorce, a loss. Change is hard, and I thought that my husband and I were prepared for this new season in life. We planned for a while this move, and it's been very challenging to start over. Even though have my pages behind me, it's like now I'm turning the page and I'm creating a new story for myself, and it's been a lot of work and a lot of inner work specifically. So I am rebranding currently. I have a book called The Real Wellness Framework. It's really the steps to help anyone become healthier in realistic, simple ways because we overcomplicate it. There's no, science or magic to living a healthy lifestyle. It's showing up for yourself consistently and choosing the right sources of energy and taking action and loving yourself and being resilient. So I've created this framework, and that's really the premise of this new program I'm creating, again, to just help people show up for themselves. So that's part of what's new. Um, some other things yet to be determined. It's exciting to see where the road's going to take me next.
Yeah. And that's the whole investment in self, right? Opportunities will present themselves as we pour into us, as we continue to feed the fire of the underlining mission, the underlining vision, the underlining purpose of who we are and what God's created us to be, right? As we continue to pour into that, opportunities will just present themselves. You know that as well as I do. And that's an exciting place and a little bit scary place to be, right? Because you just don't know, but you know that you just need to keep taking one step, one step, one step.
Yeah, being uncomfortable is, as much as most people don't like to be uncomfortable.
It's a must. It's a
Yeah, I mean,
must to grow.
even like when I moved and I told my husband I'm going on dates with women because I would put myself out in these groups and say, "Hey, I'm new to the area. I'm an empty nester now. I don't have kids to meet friends through." And so I would go on these blind dates and meet women, and I tell you, it's been fantastic just to hear each other's story because that's where change happens when you're willing to be vulnerable and to open yourself up and to realize that the woman next to us or the gentleman next to us may be going through the same thing, but they just haven't had someone to just say, hey, I'm here for you, or I'm here to listen, that's where the magic happens. And I have had some really amazing friendships, conversations, because I'm willing to be vulnerable and uncomfortable. And I encourage people that that's where the change happens.
I love, love, love that you share that because too often in our society now, Jessica, we have the Instagram face, right? Like
Me,
everybody
girl.
shows their best foot. And I'm like, that's not real life. That's not what you're going to see if you follow me, right? There's some days where I just, right? It's as much as I can do to get out of bed and to hit the ground running, right? Like that's the reality. But I also think that anything that is of quality, right? You can have a quantity of people around you and still feel lonely. It's
Yes.
the quality of people around you that you surround yourself with, or in the community that you spend time with, or the relationships that you pour into and pour back into you that really matter. And if you aren't able to let your guard down and get uncomfortable and have real conversations like you and I do when we walk, right? About real life, not like take off the mask, be able to just be vulnerable and honest about, you know what, today's really hard, right? Like, or today's really great, or whatever it is. But being able to take off that mask is so important. And I think so often we forget that we can do that, that you don't have to like run through life with this Instagram mask and Instagram post running through your head or your life or whatever it is. That's
Yeah.
not how God created us. God created us perfectly and wonderfully made, yet we want to act like something else. So I love that you brought that up because I find that incredibly important. And I find that it's less and less frequent that I meet people that right off the bat, we can just be vulnerable, that we can just take the mask off, that we can just be present with one another, right? And I think that it's a real gift when you can build that relationship, from the get. So I appreciate you for that because it's been like that since the very first time that we met. And
Yeah.
something that I adore about you, and I appreciate the space that you're able to hold for me as well. So,
Yeah, it's the biggest compliment. Like I just got off a call with a new friend and we've created this friendship. She lives across the country, but it's the biggest compliment when someone tells me that they appreciate my authenticity. And that's what I put out in the world. Like you see what you get what you see. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. If I did something wrong, come to me, but that's what I pride myself on. And that's the type of people that I want around me is that they're showing up real. And that's my framework. It's the real framework, but it's also like this is like let's keep it real. It's not going to be pretty all the time.
no.
So, yeah, just wanted to share that.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it fits right in, right? So is there anything before we close up that you want to share that you're excited about, like entering into the next season, that you want to help, give some zing for other people, whatever you want to share for the last couple of minutes?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much I could say. Number one is, if you don't feel like you're in a good spot health wise right now, it's okay. Start today. Reach out to a coach, reach out to me. I mean, you have so many free resources, but just take one small action, one small habit change in your life can just start that, propelling you in the right direction. So that's one. Two, something that I've created, and I kind of created over COVID when I wrote my first book, was the 5G mindset. And we have these five intrinsic gifts that God has given us. And I lay in bed at night, and these are the things I remind myself of. What am I grateful for today? And you hear all the influencers and everyone talking about what are you grateful for, but be very specific. How did I pour into someone? How was I generous today? Did I send someone a nice message? Did I work at a food pantry? Did I hold the door? Did I give someone a compliment? Number three is growth in the smallest ways. I love Wordle and connections. Like I just do them every day because it expands my mind. I listen to podcasts, I'm reading books. What can you do to grow every day? Because if you're not growing, what's happening, right?
Yep.
Fourth is grit, and that's one of my favorite words is like what did I do to push myself today or to pull myself up? And then the last is grace because we are not perfect. We are, what did I give someone grace today? Do I need to give myself grace today? what does that look like? And so that's something that I forget about sometimes, but I really like if we can use those 5 gifts every day, it recreates the story in your head. We have a better mindset, our thoughts are different. And so use those tools. It's also a great conversation piece. So show up for yourself in small ways and think about your 5 gifts.
You've never shared that with me. I love that. The 5G mindset.
You know what? I have a free little booklet, so I can send it to you if you want to send out to your viewers.
Yes, please put it in and I'll put it in the show notes. I would love that. Yeah, I mean, all of these things I hear, right? But I've never put them like compacted them together. The 5G mindset, that's brilliant. Love it. You should trademark that. There's
I think I do have a trademark on that. Like I said, it's been a few years, but it was part of my book. There was a chapter on it. But when people were asking me, like, how did you get through all that you got through? I
yeah,
realized these were the things. Like, these are
yeah.
the things that are free and intrinsic, and I can just do them.
Right.
So,
Right. And that's the thing, right? Like we think that we need something that's expensive to get us to the next level. But the truth is, if you're starting out, start with these things.
yeah.
Start with gratitude, start with being generous, start with growth, start with grit, like start somewhere. Start any of these places, right? I love, love, love that 5G mindset. I'm gonna keep that. I love that.
All
You've never
right.
shared that before. So appreciate that. As we get ready to close up, I always end the same way. I ask my guests, what does it mean to let Jessica's glory shine?
Oh, wow. I'm going to say, Martha, surrounding myself with people like you. Find those people that are going to make you shine, that are going to see the light in you, because when other people see the light in you, it's going to come out. And so finding those people that just illuminate you, and then you're going to illuminate for others. Yeah.
Ignite. That's my word this year
Yeah.
is ignite. I
Light
want
it up,
to
girlfriend.
ignite others, right? Like that's what this whole human experience is about. If we're not igniting others and we're not helping others shine, what is the purpose here, right? Like it feels a waste of time and space if we're not able to share it with others and build each other up and celebrate one another. So Jessica, thank you so much for being on my show. I am so privileged to know you, to love you, to call you friend, and for sharing this platform with me. I just thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. Mwah.
All right. Good night, guys. And we'll look forward to seeing you same time next week, same place, same station. Let glory shine.
Let glory shine. From the ashes I rise. Every scar a story, every tear baptized. This is my freedom, this is my climb. Let glory shine, it's the power inside. This is your prosperity era, where dreams align with grace, abundance flows like rivers. You've stepped into your place. Rise, reign, and remember, you were born to shine. Welcome to your moment, Prospera, it's time.
We hope you enjoyed today's show on Prospera TV Network. Make it a point to visit us on YouTube and catch all your favorite shows anytime you want. Interested in hosting a show of your own? Or advertising your business on our network? Contact Elena Rodriguez.